Karek stared at her reflection in the mirror, her emerald eyes filled with a mixture of fear and determination. The weight of her impending 30th birthday hung heavy on her shoulders, a ticking time bomb that threatened to destroy everything she had worked so hard to achieve as a Zethan. Female Kara knew all too well the cruel fate that awaited her if she failed to conceive a child before reaching the age of 30. It was a biological imperative, twisted quirk of evolution that ensured the survival of her species at the cost of countless lives. She had always been a career-driven woman rising through the ranks of the Galactic Patrol with a fierce dedication that left little for personal relationships. But now, with mere days left until her birthday, Karara realized the price of her ambition. I can't let it end like this, she whispered, her fingers clenching the edge of the sink. I won't. Kara had a plan, a desperate gamble that hinged on finding a mate willing to help her conceive. She knew it was a long shot, but she had no choice. Time was running out and she refused to go gentle into that good night. With a final glance at her reflection, Kara straightened her uniform and strode out of her quarters, her boots clicking against the metal floor of the starship Orion's Fury. She made her way to the bridge where Commander Jax Ironheart stood at the helm, his rugged features illuminated by the glow of this view screen. Commander Terra greeted, her voice crisp and professional. I need to speak with you privately. Jax turned, his piercing blue eyes meeting hers. Of course, Lieutenant. My ready room. 5 minutes. Kara nodded, her heart pounding in her chest. Jax was a human, a species known for their adaptability and resourcefulness. If anyone could help her, it was him. She made her way to the ready room, her mind racing with the words she would say. She had rehearsed this moment 1,000 times, but now that it was here, she felt a flicker of doubt. The door slid open, revealing Jack seated behind desk, his expression curious. What can I do for you, Lieutenant? Kara took a deep breath, steeling herself for the conversation ahead. Commander, I need your help with a personal matter. It's a matter of life and death. Jax leaned forward, his brow furrowed. Go on. I'm Zethan, sir, and if I don't conceive a child before my 30th birthday next week, I'll die. The words hung in the air, heavy and stark. Jax's eyes widened, his mouth falling open in shock. I know it sounds crazy, Kara continued, her voice trembling, but it's a biological imperative for my species. I've been so focused on my career, I didn't think about the consequences, and now I'm out of time. Jax leaned back in his chair, his expression unreadable. That's a lot to take in. Lieutenant, I'm not sure how I can help you. Kara felt her heart sink, but she refused to give up. I need a mate, sir. Someone willing to help me conceive. I know it's a lot to ask, but I don't have any other options. Jax was silent for a long moment, his gaze distant. Finally, he spoke, his voice soft. I'm sorry, Carrera. I can't be that person for you. It's too much, too fast. We barely know each other. Kara felt tears prick at the corners of her eyes, but she blinked them away. She had known this was a possibility, but hearing the words still stung. I understand, sir. Thank you for listening. She turned to leave, her shoulders slumped in defeat, but before she could reach the door, Jax called out to her. Wait, Kara, I may not be able to help you myself, but I think I know someone who can. Kara turned, her heart leaping with hope. Who? Jax smiled, a glimmer of mischief in his eyes. His name is Reich Torin. He's a mercenary, a bit of a rogue, but he's got a heart of gold and he owes me a favor. Kara felt a flicker of apprehension, but she pushed it aside. If Jax trusted this Reich, then she would too. Where can I find him? Jax tapped a few commands into his console, bringing up a store map. He's currently on Furia Prime, a trading post on the edge of the Outer Rim. I'll send you the coordinates. Kara nodded, a new-founded determination filling her. Thank you, Commander. I won't forget this. Jack stood, his hand outstretched. Good luck, Lieutenant, and be Careful, the outer rim can be a dangerous place. Kara shook his hand, a smile tugging at the corners of her lips. I can handle myself, sir, but thank you for the concern. With a final nod, Kara left the ready room, her steps quickening as she made her way to the hangar bay. She had a mission now, a purpose that went beyond her duty to the patrol. As she climbed into her sleek black fighter, Kara felt the surge of adrenaline. She had faced countless dangers in her career, but none quite like this. But she was ready to fight for her life, ready to do whatever it took to survive. The stars blurred into streaks of light as Kara entered hyperspace, her destination. Locked in Furia Prime awaited, and with it the hope of salvation. But even as she hurtled through the void, Kara knew that her journey was just beginning. The outer rim was a lawless place, a haven for the galaxy's most dangerous criminals and outcasts, and somewhere among them Reich Torin waited, a man who held the key to her survival. Kara just hoped that he would be willing to help her, that he would understand the desperate nature of her plight, for she was a warrior, a fighter to the core, and she would not go down without a fight, not when her very existence hung in the balance. As the stars streaked by, Kara closed her eyes, her mind drifting to the future. She hoped to have a future where she was alive, where she had a child to call her own. It was a future worth fighting for, worth risking everything for, and fight she would until her last breath, until the very fabric of the universe itself unraveled around her. For she was Zethan, a proud daughter of Zeth Prime, and the fire of her people burned brightly within her, a flame that would not be extinguished, not by time, not by fate, not by anything in the vast expanse of the galaxy. The neonlit streets of Feria Prime pulsed with a frenetic energy, a cacophony of sound and color that assaulted Kara's senses as she navigated the crowded thoroughfares. The trading post was a melting pot of species from across the galaxy, a place where anything could be bought or sold for the right price. Kara kept her hand on the hilt of her blaster, her eyes scanning the crowd for any sign of trouble. She had been to places like this before, but never was so much at stake. She made her way to the Black Nebula, a say bar on the outskirts of the spaceport. According to Jax's intel, this was where she would find Rick Torin, the man who could be hers salvation. As she stepped over through the door, Kara was hit by a wall of sound and smoke. The bar was packed with a MLY assortment of patrons, from grizzled spacers to sleek corporate types. Kara went through the crowd, her eyes searching for the man she sought, and then she saw him sitting alone at a table in the back, nursing a glass of amber liquid. He was tall and lean, with a shock of silver hair and a face that looked like it had been carved from granite. His eyes, a piercing blue, met hers across the room, and Kara felt a shiver run down her spine. She approached his table, her heart pounding in her chest. Reich Torin, he nodded, his expression guarded. Who's asking my name? Is Kara Vex. I'm a lieutenant with the Galactic Patrol. Commander JX Ironheart sent me at the mention of Jack's name. Rick's eyes narrowed. What does the good commander want with me? Kara took a deep breath, steeling herself for the conversation ahead. He said you owe him a favor, and I need your help. Reich leaned back in his chair, his gaze appraising. What kind of help? I'm Zethan, and if I don't conceive a child before my 30th birthday next week, I'll die. Reich's eyebrows shot up, his expression a mix of surprise and disbelief. You want me to father your child? Kara nodded, her cheeks flushing. I know it's a lot to ask, but I don't have any other options, Jack said. You were a man of honor, someone who could be trusted. Reich was silent for a long moment, his gaze distant. Finally he spoke, his voice low. I'm not sure I'm the right man for the job, sweetheart. I'm a mercenary, not a family man. Kara felt her heart sink, but she refused to give up. I'm not asking for a commitment, just your help in conceiving. After that you can walk away, no strings attached. Rick's Eyes met hers and Kara saw a flicker of something in their depths compassion. Perhaps or understanding. All right, he said at last, and I'll help you but on one condition. Kara's heart leaped with hope. Name it. I have a job to finish. First, a high-stakes heist on a Kex organ stronghold. I could use your skills and your patrol connections. Help me pull it off and I'll give you what you need. Kara hesitated, her mind racing. A heist on a Sorgan stronghold was no small feat. The insectoid warriors were known for their brutality and their advanced technology. But what choice did she have? I'm in, she said, her voice steady. When do we start? Ray grinned, a flash of white teeth in the dim light of the bar. Right now, follow me. He led her out of the bar and into the night, the neon signs casting a kaleidoscope of colors across his chiseled features. Kara followed her, heart pounding with a mixture of fear and anticipation. They made their way to a small nondescript ship on the outskirts of the spaceport. Reich keyed in a code, and the hatch slid open with a hiss. Welcome aboard the Shadow Hawk, he said, gesturing for Kara to enter. She may not look like much, but she's got it. Where it counts. Kara stepped inside, her eyes widening at the array of weapons and technology that lined the walls. This was no ordinary ship, but a vessel built for war. Impressive, she said, running her fingers along the edge of a plasma cannon. You certainly come prepared. Reich chuckled, a low rumbling sound that sent shivers down Kara's spine. In my line of work, you have to be the Cax organs. Don't mess around. He led her to the cockpit where a hollow map of the KX organ stronghold hovered in the air. Kara studied it, her mind already working on a plan of attack. The CAC organs have a weakness, she said, pointing to a small, unguarded vent on the map. Their exoskeletons are vulnerable to high-frequency sound waves. If we can get a sonic disruptor inside the stronghold, we can take them out without firing a shot. Rake nodded, his eyes gleaming with approval. I like the way you think, sweetheart, but getting inside won't be easy. The KX organs have a state-of-the-art security system with motion sensors and heat detectors. Kara smiled, a fierce predatory grin. Leave that to me. I have a few tricks up my sleeve, and so with a plan in place and a newfound partnership forged, Kara and Reich set out on their mission. The stakes were high and the odds were stacked against them, but Kara was a warrior, a fighter to the core, and with Reich by her side she felt invincible, ready to take on the galaxy itself. As the Shadow Hawk lifted off the stars, blurring into streaks of light, Kara felt a flicker of hope for her future, hope for the child she longed to have, and hope for something more, something she had never dared to dream of before. A partnership, a connection, a bond that went beyond the physical. For in Rior and Kara had found more than just a means to an end. She had found a kindred spirit, a man who understood the fire that burned within her, and together they would face the dangers ahead, united in their quest for survival, for justice, and for something far more precious than either of them had ever known. The Korgans stronghold loomed before them, a towering monolith of black metal and pulsing green light. Kara felt a shiver run down her spine as she gazed upon it, the weight of their mission pressing down on her like a physical force beside her. Rake was a coiled spring of energy, eyes narrowed in concentration as he piloted the Shadow Hawk through the asteroid field that surrounded the stronghold. His hands moved over the controls with a fluid grace, guiding the ship with a skill born of years of experience. Were coming up on the entry point, he said, his voice low and focused. Get ready. Kara nodded, her hands tightening on the grip of her blaster. She had faced danger before, but never like this, never with so much at stake. The Shadow Hawk slipped through a narrow gap in the stronghold's defenses, its cloaking device rendering it invisible to the COS organ sensors. Reich guided the ship to a small, unguarded airlock, the hatch sliding open with a Hiss of hydraulics, let's move, he said. Unholstering his own weapon, we don't have much time together. They crept through the darkened corridors of the stronghold, their footsteps echoing in the eerie silence. Kara's heart pounded. In her chest, her senses heightened to a razor's edge, and then without warning, all hell broke loose. A group of KX organ warriors emerged from the shadows, their Kidus exoskeletons gleaming in the dim light. They opened fire, a hail of plasma bolts sizzling through the air. Kara reacted on instinct, diving for cover. Behind a bulkhead, she returned fire, her blaster spitting bolts of searing energy at the advancing KX organs beside her. Reich was a blur of motion, his own weapon blazing as he cut down the insectoid warriors with ruthless efficiency. His face was a mask of concentration, his eyes hard and focused. We need to keep moving, he shouted over the den of battle. The control room is just ahead. Karara nodded, her breaths coming in ragged gases. She summoned her courage and leaped from cover, charging forward with a fierce battle cry. Together they fought their way through the Kex organ defenses, their weapons flashing in the darkness. Kara felt a surge of adrenaline coursing through her veins, a fierce joy that came from facing death and emerging victorious at last. They reached the control room, the door sliding open to reveal a vast chamber filled with pulsing consoles and flickering hollow screens. In the center of the room, a massive Korgan warrior stood guard, his exoskeleton bristling with weapons. I'll handle this, you one. Reich said, his voice grim. Get to the console and upload the virus. Kara hesitated, her gaze flickering between Rick and the Korgan warrior. She didn't want to leave him, didn't want to abandon him to face the creature alone, but she knew he was right. The mission came first, and they were running out of time. With a final anguished glance, Kara sprinted for the console, her fingers flying over the keys as she uploaded the virus that would disable the strong H's defenses. Behind her, she could hear the sounds of battle, the clash of metal on metal, as Reich fought the Sorgan warrior, and then, with a final triumphant cry, it was over. The virus uploaded, the defenses crumbling, and the Korgan warrior lying dead at Rick's feet. Karara turned her heart in her throat and saw Rick standing there, his armor scorched and battered, but his eyes alive with triumph. We did it, he said, his voice rough with exhaustion. The stronghold is ours. Kara felt a surge of emotion, a mix of relief and gratitude, and something deeper, something she couldn't quite name. She crossed the room in 3 quick strides and threw her arms around Reich. Holding him tight for a moment, they stood there, 2 warriors united in victory, their hearts pounding in SN. And then slowly Reich pulled back his eyes. Searching hers. Kara, he said, his voice soft-eye, but before he could finish, a new sound filled the air, a high-pitched whine that set Kara's teeth on edge. She spun, her eyes widening in horror as she saw a new wave of Ko-Organ warriors pouring into the room, their weapons raised. We have to go, she said, her voice urgent now. Reich nodded, his face grim. Together they